Hello everybody, Carol Garrison here with Carol's Creative Escape. I apologize, I'm running a few minutes behind tonight, but I am here now and ready to go live with you. Thank you so much everybody for taking time out of your schedule to watch my video, whether you're doing it live tonight or on replay. Let me get my light out of the way there. Yeesh. I appreciate you taking time to watch this video because I know everybody's really busy. I hope that you have had a great week. I started a new job today and my commute time is a lot different than what I've had, and I'm getting home a little bit later in the afternoon, but it'll be well worth it. I think this is going to be a great job and a good fit for me, so I'm very excited about that. I just need to learn to live in this new reality that I haven't had in many, many, many years. So anyhow, I am going to just share with you tonight a 3-panel card, and I'm going to show you kind of a couple different variations on it. The first one is going to be a masculine birthday card, and then I've got an anniversary card, and I'm going to show you how to make a more feminine birthday card, I guess, out of it. But again, with the layout, it really will work with anything. And one of the reasons I'm sharing this with you tonight is we're coming to the end of celebration. We have lots of that designer series paper that we earned for free with our different purchases that we were able to make, and I want to make sure that you're able to use it all up. So this layout that I'm sharing with you tonight is a great one for using up card scraps and things like that. So without further ado, since I was already a little bit late starting, let me flip my camera over so that you can learn how to make this card. And right now I am going to just make sure, yep, I'm in the right spot, and I better silence my phone so that it doesn't beep at us partway through the video tonight, because that's kind of how things are go for me today. I do hope everybody had a great week. You know, we had a little bit of winter last week. On Valentine's Day, we got about 6 inches of snow here, which pretty much doubled almost what we've had all winter. And it was enough. We actually did have to go out and shovel it, but thankfully they're talking 50s. And I'm okay with it. I know I'm in Minnesota and I'm supposed to like the snow and stuff, but you know, at this point in the winter, we've gone without it. And I'm okay if we keep working that way. So we'll see what happens here. All right. Oh, cat here in the middle of my paperwork here. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, I do just a quick little infomercial, I guess, if we call it that. Celebration will be ending at the end of February, so there's just about 2 weeks left of celebration. And during celebration, for every $50 you order, you are able to get free product from the celebration catalog. And a couple of the things that I am sharing with you tonight are some of those free papers that you can get through celebration. And then I'm also featuring a stamp set that is now available for you through, or that will become available for you, I should say, through the online exclusives coming up in March. And I think you're going to really like this stamp set. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started on the card. Again, it's an easy card, so if you do need to make multiples, it's a great card for that. This is the masculine version of it, and it is using the trusty toolbox paper that is available in Celebration. And this does coordinate very nicely with the Trusty Tools bundle that's in the annual catalog, or excuse me, January to April catalog, with all of the die cuts. If you don't have that and you want to use the tools, you can easily fussy cut out of that designer series paper. And then this is the sweetly scripted stamp set, and it just has 6 different stamps. Happy anniversary, congratulations, see if I can get some of the glare off of it. Happy birthday, a million thanks, speedy recovery, and save the date. And it is a cling stamp set, so it's got the orange rubber pieces to it. And then here is a card that I made, and this is using the designer series paper that's actually in the January to April mini catalog, and it was with what we would call a Valentine's suite of products, but yet you've got all of this beautiful paper left. And you know, did I misspeak? Just a second. I want to say, nope, I was confusing it with something else. Anyhow, it came with a Valentine bundle, and no, you know what? Oh, goodness gracious, I'm so sorry. I believe this paper is also, this is also one of the free designer series paper. I'm so sorry, I had that mixed up in my head. It's the Most Adored Designer Series paper, which is kind of a Valentine's looking, lots of hearts and everything on it, but on the reverse side it does have the gold foil. But look, I've just turned this into a happy anniversary card. I don't need Valentine's Day to still be able to use this paper. So if you've got this on hand, and these plaids and using the gold foil, you can really still do a lot. It does not have to be a Valentine focused card. So happy anniversary out of that. And then the third paper that I'm going to use to demonstrate with the card that we're making now, it's called Sunny Days. And this has got just a collection of, I guess, floral prints, but then there's these strawberries, some cherries, some kind of cloudy days. I'm going to focus on some floral things to make a more feminine birthday card today. And it would have looked really cute too, I think, if I'd used the strawberries, but I stuck with floral. So again, if you don't have those papers, you have through the end of February to order them. But just beware that celebration is quickly coming to an end. And that also means that getting the Glass Mat Studio, we've got Zena here to visit with us today. With the Glass Mat Studio, are you going to just show everybody your pretty back? Huh? How about we get down? It's also the last day to get the last opportunity to get the Glass Mat Studio as well. And you can only get that if you sign up to be a demonstrator. So if you have any questions on that and you don't have a demonstrator, feel free to reach out to me and I'd be happy to share with you the wonderful sign-on offer. I've talked about it in the last couple weeks, so I'm not too worried that you don't know what I'm talking about here. And then if you do have a demonstrator, reach out to them because this is lovely. And again, it's only available through the end of celebration. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to provide you the measurements. Now I'm doing a slightly different variation with the card that we're going to make today. So I'm going to give you two different measurements for the designer series paper based on this layout as well as the layout that I'm sharing with you today. Both cards are going to start with a 5.5 by 8.5 or 4.25 by 11-inch base, and you're just going to score it at the halfway mark. So on mine with the 5.5 by 8.5, it'd be at 4.25. This particular card opens up this way, so it would be at 5.5. Standard card base. And then to make these cards, you need 3 pieces of cardstock that measure, I kind of changed up my measurements a little bit from the sample I was looking at. So I want to make sure I'm giving them to you right. So it'd be 4 inches by 1.25 inches. You need 3 of those for cardstock. And then 3 pieces of the designer series paper that measures 1 inch by 3.75 inches. And you can do one pattern, you can do 3 different patterns. It's completely up to you. This piece down below measures 1 inch by 4 inches for the cardstock. And then the basic white piece of cardstock measures 3.75 inch by 3.75 inch. And that's if you're going to have it go this way. Now this particular card, I am changing my layout. So we're going to start with the standard base size, which is, in this case, 5.5 by 8.5. And there's my bone folder. I knew I had it. All right. And I'm going to go ahead and dress up the inside of my card and take care of that. obviously I was not thinking when I cut this piece because I wanted it to go here and I have it set to go there. So we're going to just make a quick change. This inside piece that I'm using measures, in this case, it's going to be 4 inches by 5/8 of an inch. I like that size just because it gives enough of a border to add some color and show the pattern, but at the same time, leave you room for writing. So this is just how I'm dressing up the inside of this card. Sometimes I like to do that. You could also stamp. That would be a great addition as well. If you're in a hurry, I think sometimes just cutting these strips of paper is the quickest route to go. And it's hanging over just a teeny bit, so I'm going to grab my paper snips here and just trim the bottom off. And then this is going to go on the inside of my card. All right, we've got that. So the inside is taken care of. See, it just adds a little touch of color. That's all we need. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment, which is going to be the happy birthday sentiment. Now, on these two cards, the stamp is actually longer than the cardstock that I've got, and that's okay. I just cut it off. With this piece, I think it's still going to be longer than what I have, but I'll get most of it on there. And so, because I'm working on my glass mat studio, I can stamp right on here and clean it up. I'm actually, on the other cards, I did use just Memento black ink. On this card, I'm going to go ahead and add Poppy Parade because that's kind of the accent color that I'm using on my layers. And I thought it might be kind of fun. And this is kind of the hard part when I'm stamping live, trying to make sure I've got it lined up and straight and centered and all of that good stuff. So let's hope for the best here, and if it doesn't, oh, I smeared it. Nuts. Don't you hate when you do that? That was pretty well centered too. Fortunately, there's a back side to the paper, which means I can just flip her over and I don't even have to cut a new piece of paper. And I'm going to try really hard not to jiggle it this time. I wiggled it back and forth just a teeny bit and then I smeared it, so. Oh, I did it again. All right, so now we do have to cut a new piece of paper. Darn it. So I said my measurements were 5 1/4 by 3/4, I believe. Nope, 5 inches even. I'll have to trim off a little bit from the end here. It's what I get when you're stamping live. You get to see the good, the bad, and the ugly, huh? Just because I've been making cards for a long time doesn't mean that I get it right every single time. So, actually, I want to be careful that I don't get ink on the back of that in case I need to flip it over, but I'm determined to get it right this time. And so, there we go. We're not touching it. And you may say, but Carol, you just stamped on your, Glass Mat Studio. And you're right, I did. And This studio comes with a cleaning cloth, and right now I'm not sure where it is. I think it fell down and I've got to dig it out from behind a shelf here. But I'm just going to take my Simply Chamois and I can wipe that ink right off. And I actually had a couple spots of adhesive, and again with that cleaning cloth, those will come right off as well. So at least I got the ink off. That's all I needed to worry about, so I didn't get it anywhere else. And I'm just going to let that dry since we worked so hard to get it right. I don't want to smear it. And now my plan is for this card, instead of having the 3 long strips like we've got here, I really wanted to use more of that floral. And so I have created, running in the landscape style, 3 panels, making that center one just a little bit bigger, which is going to allow me to have more of that showing. So the measurements for this piece is, see, you've got this cool ruler right here, 2 3/4 by height and 1 1/4 by width. This piece is 2 3/4 by height, 2 1/2. Nope, 2 1/4. Yep, 2 1/4 wide, 2 3/4 by height. And then this piece once again is 2 3/4 high by 1 1/4 inch wide. And then my designer series paper is of course going to be 1/4 inch less than that, so that's 1 inch by 2 1/2. I've got 2 of those. And then this is 2 by 2 1/2. Yep, 2 by 2 1/2. So I'm just making a slightly different variation. I kept this piece at 1 inch with a 5 inch length, and then this is still the 3/4 inch with a 4 3/4 inch length. Okay, so let's go ahead and start to assemble. And take my adhesive. Oops, and it just ran it right here onto my glass. Again, it's not a problem. Usually if I know I'm going to be going off with my adhesive, I'll take it off to the side so it's not right in my work area. But I will just work around that. And so I'm just going to adhere that. And I don't know if you've heard my trick, but if you kind of look at opposite corners and get the paper lined up, I shouldn't say that's my trick. It actually came from Jackie Bullheist, but if you line up your opposite corners, then the other opposite corners automatically are lined up too. So we'll put that here and here, and then that gives me pretty much even quarters on the other side. And then we will run adhesive. And in case you're wondering, when you see me doing this on the back of my hand, it just means that I've pressed too hard on my tape runner so my tape isn't rolling smoothly, and I can get it to start moving again without sticking to my hand. Usually when I was using my fingers, it would get all over my fingers, but for some reason it does not stick to the back of your hand. And it just gets the tape moving again. All right, so there are my 3 panels, and we'll go ahead and put adhesive on the back here. And again, we'll look at opposite corners. Sometimes it's a little trickier when they're longer like this. But what I like to do is just sort of hold the corner down without adhering it, and then I run it over just to make sure the opposite side is done. Okay, and then we are going to, I recommend that you start by adhering the outer panels, because then we can just center this panel however we need to. And so we're going to add adhesive to the back. And when I'm doing my card fronts, for some reason, it helps me to open my card back up again. Whoops. I think it's been a while since I've said with the tape runner, light pressure and do a check mark to lift it up. And that really does prevent a lot of the stickiness that can occur. I could actually move these outside pieces in just a little bit, but I am going to not do that because we could spend all night trying to be perfect. And so sometimes we can just accept a little more space as long as it's even between the two. Does it really matter? And one other thing I thought about doing, and I think I'm going to try it on here, is just adding, instead of putting it down flat, let's pop the center panel up on dimensionals. So that's what's really nice about this card layout is, yep, it's 3 panels, but you can really alter the size of your panels and how you adhere them to kind of create a unique card each time, based on either what you're feeling like doing at the moment or, you know, whatever. So that you can make each card just a little bit different. I should call it variations on a 3-panel card. And then because I've popped this piece up, nope, I think I still want that just to stay as the center focus with it popped up and nothing else. But maybe the next time I make this, I'll pop up this piece too. I love these little sentiments. I shouldn't say little because they're long, but these sentiments that are in this stamp set. Just with the script and everything, it makes it so. I love scripted sentiments, and I love kind of the more simple sentiments sometimes. I've never been one for big, gushy, flowy cards, and so, you know, being kind of right to the point works for me. And then I'm just going to add a little bow. Now this is the glitter organdy ribbon, I believe is what it's called. This is also available currently through an online exclusive, and it is the, yep, glittered organdy ribbon. And I'm sad, I may have to order more because this is all I got left. I have about 12 inches, I think. It's very rare for me to use up ribbon before it's no longer available, but I think I'm going to be doing it with this one. All right, so here we go. We've got it going the long way with slightly shorter panels. We've made a masculine birthday card, a more feminine birthday card. We've even got an anniversary card. And you can play with your panels however you want. This card is an example of one made on the 4 1/4 by 11. Here's a 5 1/2 by 8 1/2 with the longer panels. And then this is 5 1/2 and 8 by 8 1/2 going landscape with slightly shorter panels. Quick, easy card, great for using up your scraps and smaller pieces of paper. And it's also a way to combine the different patterns. One of the things I really like about Stampin' Up! Paper, in addition to the fact that it coordinates so nicely with our cardstock, is that generally speaking, the designer series paper will coordinate with itself really well to show off the different patterns. And so I'm thinking that this demonstrates that. The other thing I like about this card is I would not normally think of putting Poppy Parade and Pool Party together, but it works because the paper pulls all those pieces together. So I hope everybody has a great week. I'm going to run through measurements real quick before I sign off, because I know I was a little hurried when I was going through those. I want to make sure everybody gets them. So use a standard card base, whether it's 4 1/4 by 11 or 5 1/2 by 8 1/2, and just score it at the halfway mark. And then these 3 panels are 1 1/4 inches by 4 inches. So that'd be these 3 layers of the basic white cardstock, or on here, the crushed curry. And then your designer series paper for these two cards measures 1 inch by 3 3/4 inches. This piece down here has a piece of cardstock that measures 1 inch by 4 inches, and the basic white on this one is 3 3/4 inches by 3/4 inch. And then the one thing that's a little bit different on here, because the sentiment was so long, is I cut this basic white strip to be 4 inches just to fit the sentiment. It's still 3/4 inch wide, but it does go right to the edge of this basic red layer of cardstock that I have that you can hardly even see. And then on this card, again, I'm using 5.5 by 8.5, going kind of landscape mode on it. And the cardstock layers here are 2 3/4 by 1 1/4. You need 2 pieces of that. And then this larger piece is 2 3/4 by 2.5 inches. And the designer series paper for these two panels is 1 inch by 2.5 inches. So you need 2 pieces of that. And this is 2 inches by, oh, looks like I got some adhesive on it, 2 inches by 2 1/4. Get rid of that adhesive. There we go. And that is our finished card for tonight. And if you want to decorate the inside, I think a real simple way is doing a 5/8 inch piece of designer series paper, the length of your card layer on the inside of your card. I do like to offset it just a little bit from the edge because I think it's easier to hide imperfections if it's not quite straight when you cut it or something. So that is what I've done on that card. I appreciate everybody joining me tonight, and we will see you again next week for another Make It Monday. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. Stay warm or dry, depending on where you're at and which part of the country right now. And we will hope for an early spring here. Take care. Bye-bye.